What do you think? Your honest truth, opinion of India and how we're functioning?
Well, I don't. Okay, I'm going to upset some people here. So
Please.
You must.
you know, you duck and dive at the right place. Ducking and diving. You
We
know what
all
I mean?
do the same thing,
Manchester,
Shaun.
ducking and diving. I'm not getting enrolled in that one. I've been hit by a bus. Right, a double-decker bus hit
I'd
me
actually
once.
literally been hit by a bus.
Yeah, I got literally slapped by a bus.
I want to hear this.
Just to give you a bit of background about how rough it was, I was babysat by one of the biggest mass murderers in British history.
I feel that prestige factor to go abroad is now coming down, except for the fact that our passport is not strong enough. Many people will choose the West for the passport.
Right.
One of these things like with Eva and all, like how we just met. It's a sheer coincidence how I met Shaun actually. It was my first wine dinner which I ever did. And it just, he came off as a person who just immediately started off like talking loudly. Some people thought he's comparing the entire dinner. And I knew like this is one guy who I think is quite entertaining, and I'm surprised.
It was the same for me as well. The first time I actually met him, I was a bit intimidated. I was like, he is so loud. But then that was my first impression, and then we just hung out a little bit more, and I realized how lovely he is, and we had such a fun time. It was hilarious. All the time that I had was hilarious.
On them 2 points there, and I'm going to talk really quietly. On them 2 points there, first point there, meeting Survey was really interesting. So I had an art class. I run an art class.
Yep.
And Dipti Clark, you remember Dipti?
Yeah. Yeah.
So Dipti Clark, an Indian lady married to an American, said to me and Delia one afternoon, there's this guy who's just come back from living abroad and he's really good. He's a sommelier. He's fantastic. He wants to start this wine night. You want to get going? I said, why aren't you going? She goes, no,
It's not
Dean doesn't like wine. He doesn't drink wine. It'd be a waste of our time. But you and Delia said, oh yeah, we'll go. You're doing it at this hotel. I don't know where the first. I think Taj. Said, we like the Taj. We'll do the Taj. That's really good. So we got in contact. Dipti sent us the details. We got in contact with him. Me and Delia said, right, we're coming. There's 4 of us. There's me, Delia, Daniel, and Eva.
Okay.
Right, and we got to this Taj Krishna now. So it's a lovely hotel, massive big foyer area. So now he does it in real nice places, but then it was his first time. He was setting it all up, and he did it in like this foyer room area where it was just wine.
Wow.
So I'll get to your point in a moment. Going back to you about meeting you being loud.
Yeah.
So
He's noted all.
Yeah, he has
I've got it in my head.
I'm gonna get back at you, Shiraz.
I've got it in my head. So we got to there, and I thought, right. And she sent me a picture, so I knew what Survey looked like. So I thought, fine, got it. So what there? I thought, right, we're in this big hotel. I'm thinking, right, where are they? And they're in there. The guy goes, sir, they're in there. Fantastic, go in there. And I just thought, right, let's introduce him on the proper level.
Right.
And he went, whoa. And all of a sudden, you just saw his face go, my God, he's so loud.
No, but it's the good sort of loud, which I like.
No, it's nice. And then we shook hands and introduced everybody.
He drew my portrait as well.
I did. That was just because I was listening to him talking about
And
his
you got
wine
bored.
night, and it was really good. So I did the portrait. Said it. Cut long story short, we got all it was wine. We were so drunk.
Isn't that a good thing though?
That's good, but it was getting to the stage where I got to take my wife home, and if you've got to take your wife home, that's on a different level.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, this lunatic has got my wife so drunk. I've got to get her in a car. I've got to get her out the car. I've got to get her in the villa. I've got to get her up the stairs. I've got to get her in the bed. Sweet Jesus, this is gonna be a nightmare.
Yeah.
Right? And he's going, it's been a great night. Really? Really? So loud, that's one point. Going back to you, when I first met you, I thought, one of the things I do at cricket when we play cricket together in Nizams is that I don't like a quiet environment. So I'm very much dead air is bad for me.
Yeah.
So when you first arrived, I thought, well, he looks a nice lad, but can he play cricket?
Yeah.
And I'm going, can he play cricket? First and foremost, can I play cricket? No. But that's not a point.
Can I play cricket? No.
You know, he's the highest wicket taker in our team.
Oh,
Highest wicket taker, 60-year-old man. He's beating us all down.
I mean,
all
he
the
kills
20,
it though. He kills
30-year-olds.
it.
He bowls the ball and it just goes up. So the batsman thinks, I'm going to whack this out of the ground, and then he gets stumped or bowled or something.
They don't know what's coming. That's the problem. Now, I don't know what I'm bowling, so I don't know what I'm bowling. I've got no idea what's coming. And when they get the other end, they go, "What was that?"
He deceives everybody. Like, you know, it's because he's got a really long run up. Like,
I've got
longer than me, and I'm a fast bowler. And he's
that's because it puts them off. They think I'm coming up and bowling like 80 miles an hour.
Yeah.
And when I get there, it's like 20.
Yeah.
And they go, how the hell has he done that? How has he done that? You know.
Yeah.
But when I hit it and I was loud, I just thought, right, the best way I always. So my father taught me a little lesson. The best way to introduce yourself to people who you've never met before is. Eve hates it. By the way, my wife hates it. Which you both know her, right? She hates me being extreme, and I am extreme. He's fine. You're great with it. You understand it. Yeah. But if you don't know me that well, it can be a little bit disconcerting.
That's
true. It can put you off a little bit, and I do apologise, but I do have to go. How are you doing? What's your name? Where are you from? Where's that? So I do that.
But is this sort of personality trait more because is it a common with Britishers?
No. I think.
Or where you came from?
Right. So that's a good. So I come from a very. I come from a very artistic Irish dancing music sort of like background. So big family. So mum was born from me 11 children. My dad was born from
11 children.
No, we haven't got 11 children. My mum came from 11 brothers and sisters.
Oh, okay.
My dad came from 9 brothers and sisters.
God.
Okay. So big families. Big families create a lot of noise, and to be heard, to get yourself heard, you have to get above the crowd.
You have to be loud.
So I've got to be louder than you, and I've got to be loud. So we're all talking together. I'm going to be the loudest. I've got to get louder than you, and that's where the loudness comes from. But we're also very musical, so, my father sang at the London Met, the London Palladium, and he sang at New York, in the New York Met. He was a tenor. He was classed as the Northern Caruso. People might not get that, but if they look through history, Caruso was one of the most famous Italian tenors of the 19th and 20th century. You've got Pavarotti that's more modern. My father probably could sing better than Pavarotti, if I was being honest. He had a sweeter voice, sweeter sound. My mum was just a really rough, tough Irish woman who was part gypsy. You know what gypsy is?
Yeah.
Romany gypsy. Yep. So my father was an angel.
Okay.
My mother was a proper gangster.
Oh.
So you picked on us. She was 4'11". Believe you me, you made a mistake. Because we are politically, and that's going back to that later on, we are politically a little bit twined with IRA.
All right.
That sort of thing.
What was that like when the IRA, like the Irish Republican
Army?
So at what particular decade was the peak of the fight with the British government?
1920s and 30s, when my mum was.
But there was some in the 70s, no? Like when the
bombings, that was when I was a young man, But that was the escalation through the late 60s, early 70s, when they'd already got. So basically, the Irish wanted independence. They'd already got independence to a certain extent. Southern Ireland and Northern Ireland were separated in the 1920s, but they still didn't have complete independence as Republic of Ireland. You still were linked to the British Commonwealth, in a way which is a lot more intense than what the India were, or Pakistan or whatever, from 1948, 47. A lot more intense, and that's what they were fighting for.
Why would you say that? Why is it a lot more intense than what India was? Like what?
Because basically they were on our doorstep, and basically the Irish wanted whatever money we made as I'm British, but I'm English by birth, but my parents were both born in Ireland. Yes. So the concept of that being dragged down for me as a child was always there. Not so much from my father, but definitely from my mother. And, we had a political insight into fighting for the first independence.
Yes.
In 1917, 1918 to 1921, 22. And then through into when I was a young man in the 1970s and 80s, when they were blowing up Birmingham and London and Manchester and all sorts of places.
But it got that bad, like they were bombing.
Oh yeah,
because you normally don't associate Caucasian people with bombings.
No.
What do you
mean?
Okay, you do. That's
what do you mean?
I'll tell
you don't associate Caucasian people with bombing. They invented it, mate.
So a German or a Swiss man invented dynamite.
Yeah.
So let's not go there, right?
Okay.
But my father walked out in 1980 something. I don't know what date it was. He went shopping in Manchester, and it said, if you look on the news, it's still big now. The IRA blew up the city centre of Manchester, which is massive. It's like blowing up Jubilee Hills and Banjaka together. The IRA just blew it up. And my father walked out at a superstore, what you call a department store, like, right?
A supermarket.
A supermarket. Well, or like a Q-Mart. Like a smart city shop, city mall. Sure. As he walked out the door and walked across the road, the whole building just blew up. Right. Must have killed hundreds of people.
My God.
My dad, and I still bless myself now, he survived. Obviously, whoever up there didn't want him at that time. He never got a mark or a cut. He died a horrible death later on, but that's not bad. But the IRA was still doing that in them days, but they were looking for political independence on a different level by the 70s and 80s. It wasn't like freedom fighting in the 1920s against the British Constitution. Which
what's the situation now today with
how's it now?
Ireland and Ireland ruled the situation now to a certain extent because of Brexit. So Brexit has come in, and I didn't vote for Brexit. I thought Brexit is the most stupidest idea in the world, because as a country that's part of a country within a sphere of Europe, Germany, France, Italy, Austria, Switzerland, where you intertrade with people across a very short border, right? To suddenly say, we're not part of you anymore because we're an island, is like saying to Sri Lanka, don't want to play with the Indians anymore, we're brilliant, we can live on our own. No, you can't.
You cannot.
You need to interact with your closest neighbours.
I agree.
And that was the biggest mistake. And now it's coming back, because the Irish now, because they are independent, they're dealing with the money culture and the sense of, do you want drivers? How do you get money? How do you get goods from across the border? We can do it cheaper than what you can do it, blah, 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 blah. A lot of that's going on now. So to a certain extent, the Irish have developed a lot better in that sort of sense. Sorry, I'm doing a lot of talking, so please stop me at any point.
So I wanted to tell you, so you are more like your mother.
Yeah.
The gangster.
I'm the gangster.
I'm very much more like my mother.
Yeah, you are the gangster.
But it's so entertaining to meet people like Shaun, because if you're in a room with Shaun, you're not going to say you got bored with Shaun. And that's one of the best things. I think if you're leaving a mark on this world, you should be remembered in a good light.
But also, like, I've also spent a fair bit of time now, I feel, and what I kind of get is that there's an infectious energy. When you're around Shaun, like, you have an infectious energy. He's always loud. He's always like, cheering people on. Like, every time that the most time that I spent with you is on a cricket field, and even when we're down and out, he's the only one who is on the level that you should be 24/7 on that field, right? Like, so it's not easy for somebody who's, I'm 36. I don't have that kind of energy on the field that you do. Where does it come from?
So, okay, so it's very good. It's a very fair point. There's a person I used to work with many, many years ago said something about me which I thought I've never forgot. He said to me, Shaun, you like chocolate?
Yeah.
Okay. And I went,
no, you're not.
And he said, you like chocolate?
You're nutty.
You're mad. You're nutty. He said, you like chocolate?
Melt when you put him on the heat.
Because I melt. No, and I do. I've been melting all week. It's ridiculous. Too warm. Where I come from. So he said, you like chocolate?
Yeah.
And I'll explain that to you. He said, chocolate people like. I like chocolate. And they can eat a lot of it.
Yeah.
But if you eat too much chocolate,
yeah,
it makes you sick. and you don't feel well.
Yeah.
Right? And he said, your problem is everybody likes you.
Yeah.
But when they've had too much of you, that you make them sick. And they don't know how to get rid of it other than being sick.
Yeah.
And I don't mean physically, I mean, in the
Yeah,
and
we
I thought,
understand.
I get that to a certain extent. So my energy comes from the fact that today I still think I'm 25 years of age. I know my body doesn't let me think I'm 25 years of age. And I know that. When I watch the videos of me walking around a cricket pitch, I go, oh my God, I look like an old man. But in my head, so that comes from my parents again. My father died, so we've all got an ambition in life. So there's only two of us left, me and my older brother. He's 67 now, and I'm 60. We've got an ambition that we're going to get past 70, 7-0.
Yep.
Because my dad died at 70, my mum died at 70, and my older brother, a few years ago, died at 70.
Oh, wow.
Right? And it's a really strange thing. It's like spooky.
That's
They
strange,
died at 70.
Oh my
They
God.
got to
Shaun,
70.
we have only 10 years of you left.
And I'm thinking, and then there's a chocolate. It could be melted away. Not God bless.
Expiry date 2032.
And we take that on board in the sense of energy, in the sense of
Yes.
you live every day to the full.
Yes.
When we talked about this before, I've had throat cancer.
Yeah.
Right. I had throat cancer a couple of times, but the first time I got it was really strange because I had no pain, there was no illness, I just kept on losing my voice. Now, for someone who talks a lot, and I was in an industry where you did talk a lot,
Yep.
losing your voice, you're going, that's nothing.
Yeah.
But it got to a stage where I thought, I better go and check this out because it was completely going. So, like, all of a sudden, talk to you and you suddenly go,
Oh, wow. That's how...
My God.
nothing.
Nothing. Okay.
Like that, just dead air, completely. I knew I was moving. I could hear my voice working, but nothing was working. So I went to a doctor. The doctor looked at, you've got these polyps on your throat, and he took some of the polyps up. Some are okay, but a couple are cancerous.
Yeah.
There, but for the grace of God, he caught it really early.
Right.
So scraped them off. Took rehabilitation, boom, done. So
How long?
it's a long time ago now since I had that. It must be
For your illness, though, like how long did it last?
Oh no, I didn't have any illness. There was no illness.
No.
No, I just went into hospital. He went cleaned it out. Come out of hospital 2 days later.
Okay.
Went back to work.
No chemotherapy.
No, well, I had these tablets I never took.
But did you think it was gonna?
Yeah,
get
well,
you?
I thought it was going to blow up, and then it was going to kill
Was
me.
it scary? Were you scared?
No.
You weren't scared?
No, because I didn't. I'll tell you what's really interesting. Good point, Nat.
I'd be scared.
So I've been hit.
I would be scared.
I've been
yeah.
hit by a
I
bus.
should be.
Right, a double-decker bus hit
I'd
me
actually
once.
literally been hit by a bus.
Yeah, I got literally slapped by a bus.
I want to hear this.
That's not funny. I'm sorry, but
No, it's funny because I was playing football. I ran across the road to get the ball. So even this day, people say to me, "Leave the ball," but it's a ball, and you think the bus is going to pop the ball. So I thought I could get to the ball before the bus got to me.
oh my god,
Didn't work that way. I got to the ball, and the bus just took me.
So you are a glass half full kind of guy.
Yeah, and I sat on the bus. I went with the bus. The bus stopped. I flew off the bus. Then I flew over a car. Right, and they thought I was dead. And the only thing that I broke was my elbow.
Oh my God.
And my shoulder. And I got lots of cuts.
Somebody up there loves you, Shaun.
Yeah, they don't want me yet.
Yeah.
They didn't want me. I was 14 at the time. So that was scary.
Yeah.
Going back to the guy, that wasn't scary because I tell you what's really interesting, guys. So you talk about buzzing in life. I always tell you lot, and I always say to you, just enjoy every day. If you wake up and you're still alive,
Yep.
and you've got your health,
Yes.
and you can smile, and you can look after your young and make people happy and whatever, that's the best thing.
Yeah.
Because that's all I was ever brought up on, because we had nothing. We were so poor. I had no shoes on my feet when I was a kid.
Wow.
So you know when you talk about India being a poor country, I'm telling you where I come from,
Yeah.
in the UK,
Yeah.
only 60 years ago, we had nothing. My father worked all his life. We had money. We were not poor. We were probably one of the richest in our little
Yeah.
area.
Yeah.
but we were poor,
Yeah.
right? So I live to enjoy every day. So when you ask me about why I'm buzzy, I'm buzzy because it makes people happy, and it makes me happy.
I like
but there are times when I get told to shut up,
Yeah.
and I go, right? But going back to the point, so my mum and dad, illness, that's never scared me. Seeing death, and I've seen a lot of death, it's never bothered me, right? I think the only thing that frightens me is not being old enough to see my family grow up and then be comfortable. Now, they are at the moment, for the grace of God, they are comfortable.
Okay.
But I don't want to, that's why 70 is a big thing.
Yeah.
Because he'll only be in his 30s when I get to 70,
Yeah.
my son.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he hasn't got any children yet, so that's another thing he's got to get his act together with. But I'm not worried about that,
Yeah.
right? But I don't want us to leave him where... So my mum and dad, when they died, I'd made my own way by then. I was 20-odd years of age. I was at Arcot University. I was doing a doctorate, a master's. I was making a career for myself, but I didn't have anything as such, if you see what I mean. I met Eva at 17. We've been together 40-odd years. We're still together now. Right, we love each other intensely, but we fight like cat and dog.
Like anybody who loves each other.
Oh, yeah, we've got to fight. If anyone ever tells you they don't fight,
That's not true.
they're talking bullshit.
Yeah, that's not true.
Absolute bullshit.
Anybody-
If they tell you that their life is heavenly, slap them.
What's the secret for a successful marriage?
Surya needs a lot
I
of...
think just having... Do you know what? You being you and her being her, for me, is the difference. She's extremely clever. And I have to
My
say...
wife.
No,
No,
your
he's
wife.
talking about Eva.
My wife. All women are very clever.
All women are very clever.
They are way cleverer than us, yeah.
Yeah.
Women are far cleverer than we'll ever be.
Yeah, I agree.
So I'm humble in their presence.
Yep.
No, she's a very clever girl. I'm very, I live by my wits. I live by what happens and how things.
You're reactive.
I'm reactive,
She's proactive.
She's a little bit more calculating in what she sees, and she lessens the.
But aren't all women like they are way more calculated?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah,
of course, yeah.
because for us we're not as calculated as they can be ever.
No.
Ever.
No.
Yeah.
And you've hit the nail on the word, calculate.
Yeah.
I don't know what. Yours is a lovely lady. Yours is a lovely lady. But I don't know what they're like because I don't know them that well. But, I wouldn't, if anything like mine, you duck and dive at the right place. Ducking and diving,
We all do the same thing,
Manchester,
Shaun.
ducking and diving. I'm not getting enrolled in that one, you know what I mean? Walking
Yeah.
away. So there are things that you have to learn, but she's very clever. Successful marriage comes from just being humble with each other. I think we know what our backgrounds are. That's the good thing.
Basically, Shaun says, pick your battles.
Pick your battles.
Pick your battles.
I had read somewhere where it's not very important to be honest. No, not honest, but to share everything with your spouse. It's more important to respect your spouse, because this is when old couples are giving an answer as to what makes a successful marriage. It says, if you lose respect for your spouse, then it's game over. As long as you maintain the respect, and then it at least it's a cement to keep the structure alive.
I think that's true, but I also think honesty is also another thing.
Honesty is important.
I mean, I'm honest with her in the sense of, I come from a different generation from you, so if you don't mind me saying, but, philandering, having affairs with other women or other men, vice versa, men to women, and homosexuality doesn't bother me. It's way where you swing, because I'm an artist, so I've lived with them all, right? What I'm saying is, you've got to know that that's the person you want to be with to a certain extent. And temptation is always there.
Yeah.
But being honest is one thing, but also having respect in the sense of, again, that's a very good word. Respect is the intelligence for me. Her intelligence is it's like, I come from like moon.
Yeah.
She comes from like Venus.
Yeah.
She is so much brighter and so much smarter than I'll ever be.
Yeah.
So that's a very good point.
Yeah.
But that's all me as an individual coming forward, just going back to what I'm saying, my life, the cancer I've had, the experience of being brought up by people who, one was a Romany gypsy and one was an entertainer, sang all over the world. One was a sweetheart. I don't ever think my father ever had a fight, technically, in all his life. Yet where we were brought up, just to give you a bit of background about how rough it was, I was babysat by one of the biggest mass murderers in British history. She babysat me.
Wow.
A lady.
Yeah.
Is the biggest mass murderers.
Yeah.
Care to share her name?
Myra Hindley.
Myra Henley.
Look it up.
Well, we will look it up, yeah.
So she killed a bunch of kids with a man over a period between 1965, 66 to about 1968. She killed about 8 children. They're still looking for 2 today.
I think,
Why?
I
Was
think
she
I'm going to say this.
psychotic, or?
I think I'm going to say this again. Somebody up there really likes you.
So she lived. Her family lived 3 or 4 doors down from us.
Yeah.
And when I was a little baby, she used to come around and babysit.
What did you ever get an inkling that she was planning?
I was a child,
I was a
babe.
baby.
Oh, you're a baby.
Young.
Okay.
But when she was that, my mum always thought she was a lovely girl, but she got involved in a very, very nasty, sick man. And he, psychology, he manipulated her brain, and she did all these terrible things. But look her up.
Yeah.
He's called Ian Brady, she was called Myra Hindley. So there's that little bit of an inkling about where I come from. So there's all these little things that have created my personality.
100%.
Right, that I got to find out later on from my mother. She didn't have to tell me, but she bloody well did. But then there's other sides, like my grandfather is very famous. If you look him up,
Yep.
he's called Tommy Heffernan. Fought in the First World War. He's one of only 4, and I could get this wrong, so I do apologise. He's one of only 4 or 5 or 6 men that ever got mustard gassed
Okay.
in the First World War 3 times.
What? Oh my God.
Mustard gassed, and then they sent him back.
How?
Every single
And
time they sent him. The British politicians. Because we were Irish, we had cannon fodder. They just sent him back.
Yeah.
You die when you get mustard gassed.
Yeah.
When you get mustard gas, you die.
And he got it 3 times.
He got mustard gas 3 times and survived. So when you talk about people living and someone up there likes you, my grandfather was one of them people. So
It's one of these things. No? The Brits somehow or the other they live long. They
Irish.
But
I would say Irish.
but still,
Irish
I
a
mean,
different sort of like breed of culture.
there is so much to learn. We sit here and as Indian.
we think the world is just a bubble.
we just think the world revolves around us, and we know this. We know that we know everything. And
That's brilliant.
Yeah, and then
Sorry to eject this. That's really interesting because one of the things I love about being in India that I've loved is that I think you're a little bit more free in your mind thinking, but you're very much like America to me, where you're in a bubble. You live in a bubble.
we do live
right?
in a bubble,
Indian is like a global world to you guys, right?
Yeah.
The Americans are the worst in the world for it. The Americans go, hey, we did everything. Like, we're American. We built this. We drove that. We make this. We do that. You know what? Absolutely, you're not right. You do not. The thing about you people is you are Indians.
Yeah.
You culturally this is your country.
Yep.
America is not culturally their country,
Correct.
which they do not seem to understand. I do not get. They're all immigrants, right? But
Go back to your home country. It's like, you go back to your home country.
exactly. So
Make America great again.
you go back to your own country, you immigrant, and they go, well, where are you from? Oh, I am from America. No, you're not. Where was your granddad from? Oh, he was Norwegian. And you go, well, she was British. Well, in that case, why don't you go back home? Because you're not from this country. By the way, all I'm saying is there's a cultural thing that I'm really interested about. Because in that bubble, you don't hear Americans talk about our politics or our understandings.
No, they do not.
I get that a little bit in India sometimes, that you don't hear about how they don't see the rest of the world happening to some extent.
Yeah.
It's
So
it's
you've
a
been
bubble.
in India for how long now?
6 years. Just
So-
short 6
So
years.
what is, as an outsider's perspective, what is your opinions, good, bad, ugly, of India? Like you just said, we're saying right now that we live in a bubble. What do you think? Your honest opinion of India and how we're functioning?
Well, I don't... Okay. I'm going to upset some people here, so...
Please,
You must.
please.
You must.
I don't like your politics. at all.
Okay.
I think your politics are far too the people in charge, far too right wing, far too greedy.
Yeah.
If you see what I mean. Where I come from, being very poor, and building up to where I've got to, you know, I'm a socialist. Right? I'll live and die by being a socialist.
Right.
I'm not a communist. I'm not a fascist. I'm a socialist. A socialist.
that.
And let's be serious. All of them don't really capitalist. I'm a capitalist. I'm a capitalist as well, because you know I like money and I like nice things.
Yes.
So I'm a capitalist in that sense. But I don't believe you should let in politics, and I've got my. I don't get as embroiled in politics these days as I used to when I was younger.
Yep.
I was really into politics when I was a young man. Really heavily into politics. I campaigned against all sorts of different things, massively. One of the biggest things in my life, one of the banes of my life, is Margaret Thatcher.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I don't say I never knew the woman, but as a politician, she virtually could have ruined my life for good.
Why?
Because her concept was, so India's similar to UK. So there's India, a triangle. There's UK, a triangle. Okay, the top part of England, which is Scotland, and the northern parts of England, is seen as the horrible bits.
Yes.
Centrically, and you know, because you've been to London. Have you been to London?
No, I have not.
Right,
No.
so if you've not been to London, you've been to London. London and the capital of the world is down south. So Middlesex, Hertfordshire, Buckinghamshire, anything past Birmingham,
Yeah.
anything below Birmingham is the
wall.
world. Anything above Birmingham is you just take your willy out and wee on it. It's shit, right? So politically, I'm using that as the most graphic way I could put it, right? Politically, that does and it's been like that for hundreds and thousands of years.
Right.
So if you're born in that area, your remittance to see what that life as politically is hard. So Margaret Thatcher came into power in the 70s. I was an older teenager, going into work. When she came to power, taking over from a Labour Party, it was what you call the Socialist Party.
Yes.
Who had problems with the unions. You know what unions are.
Yeah.
So we had big industries in them days. We had coal mining, steel,
Yes.
engineering, massive big industries
Yes.
that ran the world basically.
Yes.
That some of you guys have taken certain parts over, the Chinese and all this sort of thing. But we used to run the world basically. We did.
100%.
Right?
Yes.
We were the engine
Yes.
room of
yes,
the world.
Yes.
Do you guys reminisce sometimes? Like, oh.
I don't reminisce because I never got embroiled in it because I was like a teenager. I was like, 15, 16, 17. I never
Because
got,
if you see the size of England, it's roughly the size of United Andhra Pradesh,
Yeah, but-
what
Yes.
it was.
But-
And the
but
population, they ran the world, the empire.
we ran the world.
But that's the thing about humans, right? It's not who's the strongest or who has the most muscle. It's about who's the smartest.
They were
It's
the
where your brain
smartest.
is. It's where your brain is.
Like, if you see history as well, like the Brits, they didn't just go and conquer by guns. They actually
Exactly.
made deals. They come in sneakily saying, with the
they
we're
use-
just here for tea and spices. Hey, by the way, we need an army just to protect our tea and spices. Hey, by the way, we'll take care of your
No,
system. Just give us a little tax.
They waged an economic war more than a financial
Yeah.
one.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, and then when economics were overly dependent, then they got in whatever they wanted. You know, once they're like a money lender. They gave you some money, and when you were completely indebted,
Yeah.
and they came in with their armies, and then they were like, okay, now we're occupying this land. You know, because that's how finance works. It's
And even the
yeah.
rich, using India, which was the jewel in the crown for the
Yeah.
British
Yeah.
Isles, because it was the gateway to the rest of the world.
Yeah.
So for us, we went through Europe and through the Balkans, came to India.
Yeah.
India was that was our platform to go into Asia.
yeah.
So we used India like another part of the United Kingdom.
Yep.
India was just, so there's England and there's Wales and there's Scotland. India was just another
Yeah.
country that you might as well just stuck it on the side of the UK because that's what it was.
It was
So
a part of it. Yeah.
It was a cultural, economic, viable land that we could use to develop other parts of the world.
Yes.
Because you wanted to be with us and we wanted to be with you.
Well, no, we didn't want to be.
I just thought I'd say that for the record. Because it's nothing to do with me. I came from the poor side. Right? Have a word with the Queen.
In the beginning, I don't think it was such a bad.
India was never a united country. I think that's we owe it
exactly.
to the British. If it weren't for the British, we would have been 25 different countries.
We were never India.
It's impossible for India would have actually been.
There was no
so
India. The British created India. We were like the Chandragupta Maurya Empire and Mughal Empire.
Mughals,
we were
Nizam,
never
exactly.
India.
You had all these different people running different parts of India, doing in different ways. I do know that. And I do see that.
And a concept of democracy, I think that's one of the best remnants.
Today, so you asked me a question about India, what I see. Politically, I see the one thing I see about India as a British person, and I've been here now nearly 6 years now, is that your basic rules
it's
are
all
still
British.
Very, very British.
Yeah, it's all British.
The elections, the way you do
IAS
politics,
officers.
No, everything is
the way
British.
you do everything is
The
still
law is
education
British.
system.
very British.
The law is British. We've made some amendments to them now because they make sense to us, like the Hindu Marriage Act or the Muslim Act or whatever. But otherwise, in general, all the laws are British.
Well, can I ask you a question? Let me ask you a question. So, I've been here for nearly 6 years. Your intensity with affiliating to the Americans. So, a lot of your children
Yes.
get well educated.
Yes.
Not all of them. God, there's a lot of poor as well, but that's by the by. The ones that get a chance to go, I know America charges less fees in Britain, but you send them to America a lot more now with an influence they come back with, which is very American. So let me ask you the question, both of you. Sorry, I'll get to that point. What do you see the next 20 years being like as an India?
Okay, so first, to answer the first part of the question, I think they send our children to America is because once you finish your education, it is much more difficult to get a job in the UK than it is in Australia, and to stay back and pay off the loans or whatever you've made, like you want to earn money now in dollars or euros or pounds or whatever it may be, because you've studied there. It's much more difficult for you to get a job in the UK and Australia rather than the US.
Right.
You can just finish college and you can apply for jobs and you can get in. The UK is much more difficult. And secondly, there is the America is like the dream. It's been projected. America is very good at marketing. And I feel that they have projected this dream. Live the American dream of the 80s. Live the American dream of the 90s. And India has bought heavily into that.
Right.
Heavily. So, for us, it's just like, oh my God, it's like a reputation thing. I've sent my child to America and he is now in Chicago and earning this much money and he is living in the US. It's a prestige matter because it's a part of American marketing, I feel like. Not the UK, Germany, Europe or Australia hasn't been as effective as marketing their country to India as the US has. US has marketed themselves very well through pop stars, through lifestyle, through brands.
Yeah.
So you want to go there.
So what? Stop there.
But falling on that question on what do you see the future of India?
Yes. So the next 20 years, as a young man, and as a young man, do you see India being a lot different to what it is now?
So to complete, India is now growing, and India is now understanding that living here and growing here would be more beneficial.
Right.
And I feel that prestige factor to go abroad is now coming down, except for the fact that our passport is not strong enough. Many people will choose the West for the passport.
Right, okay. But let me ask you the question. Sorry, should have asked you the same thing, right? When I mean what I'll say is, I get that, but, so you're saying that your age groups, which is the next generation below me, I work like my son, who's 27, sort of thing, right? A bit younger than you, but you're building a platform to make India now, from your education, more prevalent in the world. Okay.
Yes.
But what I'm saying to you is it going to be a mix? Because we just brought the British Raj and the British Empire and how Britain made India into a whole state or country or whatever. Will the Americans in the next 20 or 30 years be not them as people or not as you as Indians? Will they be influential in deciding how you become as a country?
No,
No.
I would not say that. In just recently, like America tried to tell India not to buy Russian oil because of the Ukraine
Yeah,
issue, and
that's right.
and India just blatantly said no. And it's a very encouraging new step actually, because for the first time we're not afraid of saying no or upsetting America.
Right.
A couple of years ago, you would be bombed to the Stone Age if you said no to America.
Right.
A lot of people are intimidated by America.
Yeah.
I think what's happening lately, just to answer your question of where do we see India, I think these are very encouraging steps. I think the demographics are in our favor. A majority of Indians are below the age of 35. We have a thirst for knowledge. We are hardworking. So, in India, Indians grow despite the system.
Right.
Whereas in other countries, they grow because of the system. Because the system, like in China, for example, the system is there, so they make sure their growth is good.
Yeah.
In India, we have so many obstacles and license Raj and all of these things, which slows down people. But if you let the Indian society loose and keep the same sort of... You put Indians in UK, they're all rich. You put them in USA, they're all rich. They're an amazing diaspora to have because they contribute in the field of medicine and architecture, law, everything, engineers as well. So definitely I see India as a big power. And
But I do not think that's scary.
No, everything is
no,
arithmetic.
we're a good superpower to have actually. Because we will not ever try and tell a country what to do. Your country's affairs are your country's affairs.
Sorry. Can I just say that's I've got excited now. So I get that, but guys, at your age, we've got a situation now in the world where we've got Ukraine being battered by the Russians. It doesn't matter. I'm not interested in whether or not you buy planes from, or you buy guns from, or you buy oil from, and that's up to you. We buy oil from fucking the Arabs, who gives them monkeys. We buy from who we can buy it from. The point is, there's going to be a time, and you're talking rightly so, if you don't mind, about a superpower, because you're big enough to be a superpower, and a big superpower, where there's going to be a day, and it frightens me, and this is what I'm scared of, and this is why I'm asking the question, where do your alliances fall? Because there's going to be an alliance that's going to happen when you've got to make that decision, or politically, the country's got to make that decision and say, we can't let this happen in that world area anymore, right? And usually politics is, the problem with politics is either to do with money or religion.
Yep.
Generally.
Yep.
That's what it kicks off about.
Yep.
Money or religion.
Religion.
Putin's only going to the Ukraine because Ukraine's so rich in so many different assets that he wants that back in the backyard.
Yeah.
They had it, they don't have it anymore. Why not take Georgia? Why not kick the poo out of Lithuania? Because there's nothing in Lithuania or Georgia that's the same as in this bit. Do you understand what I mean?
There's no point.
So what I'm asking you is, and I get what you said, so answer the question, and I'm being direct now. I know you're a clever country, I know you're smart, you're savvy, but who would you be willing to say that your country take a stand on something over and above?
We're not ready for that.
Yeah, you're not ready for that.
We're not ready for that.
And how far away are you from that mark where you're going to go, okay, I'm joining the Russians, or I'm joining the Americans, or I'm joining the Brits? I'm not saying that's a bit fair individually, but does that come
I think the general Indian mindset is like we have bigger problems internally rather than worrying about what's happening here and there. Because, whenever anyone tries to do anything within the country, we're always like, boss, people dying on the streets right now. We're still developing. We're not developed. We're a developing country. Hopefully we can come into that category. There's a lot of poverty still.
I don't feel the same way. I think with our numbers, because it's generally math, arithmetic. Now we have a big population, and that population is only getting richer, and that makes our economy grow that much quicker. Now, whatever the UK does, or America does, or Russia does, they have a certain limit on their population. They will never be able to match the numbers that we can or China can. Now, China is a communist country. That leaves us. So, over in the near future, I wouldn't even say further, we are going to reach a level that economically we will be superior than most people.
Yeah.
We will. There is no
Not in my life.
option.
Probably not in my lifetime, but you certainly will.
Well,
be.
not in the next 10 years.
No,
But.
so,
Not the next 10 years.
No, but I'll tell you, for example, this movie has come out called 83. It's about the 1983 World Cup. And it just shows, when I see it, I swell up, because I'm like, we were really nobodies in the world of cricket, and look at where we are today. Today the world of cricket ceases to exist without India.
yeah, exactly. Look at the IPL, and that's what made India.
It was a major.
And we rule. Not because of that we have better cricket, or not because we have better players. It's because we have more viewership. Yeah. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, but you've also embraced that as so that's very good. But so going back to sport, you have embraced that as an element of your sporting culture. It was always there, but you haven't embraced. I think you will embrace it.
Yes.
I think you will embrace football.
Yes.
Soccer
Yes.
in America.
No, I'm a football. I say football. Yeah.
No, but I think you will embrace that. It will come eventually.
Yeah.
Because it will. Because it's the biggest, greatest, and massive sport in the world. But what I'm saying to you is that's important. The way you've developed, and that's what I'm saying.
So I also want to come back to the point where you said, why are we not ready? The IPL is an example. Like the BCCI is way richer than any other cricket body in the world. Bigger than the ICC. We can just own them.
Right.
Today. But still, the ICC still has more power.
It dictates, and we let them dictate it.
It dictates, and we still let them dictate. So, as an Indian mindset, we're not in that zone yet to say that, okay, now I'm with Russia, or now I'm with China, or now I'm with even when we do have the money and the power and the thing, we still let some terms get dictated to us. Not all, maybe that would change, not in our lifetimes, maybe later. We still don't have that because we're like 70, 80 years old now, so when America was 80 years old, there was only civil war.
Yeah.
When I think British was 80 years old, I don't know what you guys were doing. I have no idea.
To see you.
Yeah, I have no idea. And we're just 80 years old.
Making love to sheep.
Yeah. So now that we have 80 years, and we're doing so well, I feel that we're there, and hopefully not in the near future, but in the next 50 years.
I will say, you asked me to get the question started with, what are my thoughts of being in India? I've enjoyed India. I do think it helps that I come to a country with my wife that do speak English.
That's good.
Yeah.
I'm very, very sad to say that I am a lazy, thick Irishman, come British person who can't speak any Hindi. Right? I hold my hands up. I know a few words. I can understand some of the language you throw at each other sometimes, but I don't really understand the whole bits of it. And that's me being a lazy person. But then again, I only know France when I'm in France. French when I'm in France. I can't speak Italian. I can't speak Spanish. I can't speak German. So, hey, wait a minute. I just about speak English. So let's put it at that level. So you are a clever and industrious nation. But I'm just asking the question about, where you asking where I come from. My politics are socialist. My politics are for freedom and fairness and justice for everyone. And I don't like poverty on the streets, because I came from poverty. I can't stop it.
Yes.
Because I'm not a multi-billion. And even if it was Elon Musk, right?
Yeah.
If that's his name, or Tusk.
Yeah.
That's how ignorant I am. I wouldn't even spend my money on that because I wouldn't know how to start. What I'm saying to you is, it's interesting to find out what you think from what you think I think. Because as an older person, my understanding of India is of a country ruled by my British people who are obnoxious, cynical, devious, conniving, malicious.
But maybe they're just
people.
But you still left that culture. I mean, if you're going to say that it's
but
not
I'm
engraved.
not one of those.
No,
that's
no,
what I'm trying to say. I've come here with an open mind to see what you people are doing.
It's very mature of the fact that the British people within themselves said, listen, let's lose that jewel of our crown. Let them rule themselves.
Oh, they were scared.
No.
There
was a certain point where you couldn't.
There was a certain point, I know,
like
but
they pushed it till
they could have flogged the dead horse until it went on.
Let me just tell you something, guys. As a guy who knows my history, right? The whole reason why you got your freedom, if you want to use that as a word, nothing to do with me, is the rich in England just couldn't afford to keep this country going.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, after the First World War, the government that took over after the First World War in the UK, after that Great War, they were all the rich and the people that run your country and other Commonwealth countries that we still call today, they had to pay taxes.
Yeah.
And they lost their estates, their country homes, right? After the Second World War, which was the catalyst of you getting your independence, they were even made poorer. So these are the people that are running this country off the back of letting you guys work for them in this country, building some of the palaces that you've got through the palaces that you had. So you understand what I mean? Yeah. They could not afford to have that. So the easiest way was to say, here you go.
Take your independence,
You have it. Because it doesn't going to cost us any money then. We can go back and live in our estates.
But today when you look at England and there's such a big Indian, Bangladesh, Pakistani, Sri Lankan diaspora over there, what does the normal white Britisher think of this? Does he think like, oh yikes, this is karma? Or do they welcome that diaspora?
You mean the way it's been?
Because I'm sure there's a big chunk of Caucasian.
Into the UK.
In the UK itself, what is there now?
Well, it doesn't bother me. You can be green, blue, pink, yellow, white, brown, anything. I don't give a shit who you are. As long as you're decent people, you can come into my country.
Yeah.
If you come into my country and you're crooked and you're bent and you break the rules.
But what if they outnumber the Caucasians at one particular point?
That happens anyway. I mean, you won't outweigh them Caucasian because we get a lot of Ukrainians and a lot of just using the Balkans, Croatians, Romanians, Bulgarians come to Britain, and so we get a lot of what you call white. Caucasian people coming from Central Europe, in the bottom part of Central Europe, going into the UK because we've got the best benefit system in the bleeding world. We give everything for free, and we do.
Yeah, you do.
So people could travel right across from China and right from Philippines all the way to Britain. Why go all through them countries to get there? Because the colour of your skin's got nothing to do with it. All I say is you can come to my country, you can live in my country, you can have my country, whatever, as long as it's a fair play, level playing field. So politically, on that sense, I have no issues. I've come to your country and I enjoy the benefits of living in your country. I wouldn't do any disharm to your country. I don't like driving in your country. I don't like being on the road in your country. I had a conversation very quickly tonight about painting white lines. What's the point of painting white lines? No point in painting white lines because you don't stay in the lanes that you could save all that money on that paint and put it to something better use. Just have a road with tarmac because you just cross each other like, what's the point? But there's another point. But I think we want to.
Yeah, I want to complete that by saying, because that is a very, very valid point, and we also want that harmony. And I think we're too young to understand how to control this harmony.
As a country,
we're
probably
too young.
At the moment,
we don't know, and we need a lot more education. We need to evolve a little bit better.
Okay.
And then maybe we'll be in a position. But we definitely, at our core, we all want to be harmonious and happy and peaceful, and like good for all. Like that's the thought process that we all want.